Treetop Radio LA, man. We are broadcasting live in Baltimore, Maryland, via Los Angeles, California, man. I'm your host, Big Homie Smiles. You can follow me on Instagram. That's Big_Homie Smiles with a Z. That is my guy, Been Ready. Been ready like we've been ready for justice for Ronald Green out there in Louisiana, man. Been ready like we've been ready for the police to stop killing us, man. It's getting consistently too much, man. I'm saying it too much, man. I got a wonderful show for y'all today, man. Shout out to my guys in the background again, JT 1800, man. Vonnie Bravo from Northeast DC, man. It's a young world, you feel me? My boys in DC out here getting it. Today's show is called The More You Know. You know what I'm saying? The more you know. The purpose of this podcast is to retell our story the correct way, right? History isn't our story. You hear me? I'm gonna say it again. History isn't our story, it's his story. You feel me? That's why he's telling it and not us. It's for them. And we know how distorted their memory can be. My goal is to inform my audience about the many different inventors and contributors to things that we use every day. Number one, the curling iron. Number two, the stoplight. Number three, the car waiting, nigga. Number four, the word processing, nigga. Number five, the gastroscopy, nigga. Come on, I can go on, man. We out here. We invented everything. This microphone, we invented that shit. You feel me? This swag, I invented that shit. I'm gonna own my own inventor. You know what I'm saying? Now this they will have you believing, right? You know, this what I don't get. They will have you believing that they were the ones God chose to lead this world because they believe that their white skin makes them pure, right? We created this country and everything in it. You hear me? I'm gonna say that again. We created this country and everything in it. We no longer need to keep teaching ourselves, our kids, our friends, you know what I'm saying, our family about segregation, civil rights, and slavery. That's how they keep us oppressed, right? That's how they continue oppression. We need to start talking about how we kings and queens and how we built this world on our backs every day, all day. Enough with the oppression. Right now, we shall reclaim our time, you hear me, by pushing propaganda and truth the way it needs to be pushed. Now, this going to get crunchy, you know what I'm saying? A lot of these inventions and contributors, I know for a fact, no one knows about. For a fact, right? Now, I'm going to give you some more information. Did y'all know that African-American inventors continue to make life easier and work more profitable for individuals, businesses, and communities well into the 20th and 21st century? So we've been making the man money. We've been saving them money, and we've been showing them how to flip money. You know what I'm saying? Just off the dome because we are knowledgeable. We are great. We are inventors. We are mathematicians, we are physicians, we are astrophysics, we are nuclear physics, we all that. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Don't let this world make you boxed into just entertainment and just boxed into being an athlete and just boxed into being, you know, something that cannot be constructive towards our culture and pushing, you know, ownership. We got to own our minds, you heard? Now, on some history, I just a quick note before I start going into the inventors, right? Because this is some information that I honestly did not really know too much about, but I did hear this man's name. So I'm going to talk to y'all about the life of Mansa Musa, right? So Mansa Musa was a wealthy African Muslim king. Before Jeff Bezos, before you got Bill Gates, before you got Warren Buffett, it was a black African Muslim named Mansa Musa who was the richest man in history. And still to this day, I'm going to get a little deep. So Mansa, right? Mansa means sultan, king, or emperor. Now pause. I'm going to pause it real quick. I want to thank all my people on YouTube for just tapping in. Thank y'all for listening to our stream, man. Thank you on Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio. I appreciate you guys tuning in. This is some information that I feel and I believe that needs to be pushed, and we need to be hearing it. So I'm going to get back into talking about Mansa Musa, who is the wealthiest African Muslim king in the Mali Empire. You know what I'm saying? People don't talk about that. And I paused it real quick because I want y'all to keep King Midas in your mind. When I'm reading this, keep King Midas. You know what I'm saying? When they be like, that's the Midas touch. Keep him in your mind when I'm reading this. That's the white man, King Midas. This the black man, Mansa Musa. I'm gonna just show y'all how they whitewash shit. Now, so the emperor is the title given to Musa Keita, right? Musa Keita is the 10th king of the Western African Islamic Mali Empire. He ruled Mali from 1312 to about 1337. In this period, Mali Kingdom was said to have the largest produce of gold in the world. Like, that's in Mali. He was producing the gold. Like, anywhere you look in Mali, it may be like a gold nugget growing from the ground or the trees. I mean, like, they was the producers. When you the producer, like the plug, nobody topping you. You control everything. So he was known to have been enormously wealthy, and it was reportedly as being inconceivably rich by contemporaries. They said that this man, Mansa Musa, would literally every Friday build a mosque and a university every Friday, because his goal was to make Mali so known about Islam and about how they were educated. You know what I'm saying? So he was pushing his own propaganda. Even before it was internet clout, you had gold clout. So if you had gold food, oh my God, get out of saying food. If you had gold, my God, my king, man, you was living, you was doing it. And he would make Islamic mosques and universities every Friday. But see, look, remember I told you to remember King Midas? So the story about King Midas was he was a king. This is a Greek myth, mind you. He was a king, and that he found like this poor guy or something like that, and they was able to grant him a wish. And one of his wish, he wanted to be able to turn everything into gold, right? And they granted him his wish. Now, isn't that quite funny? This white myth it sounds similar to King Mansa Musa, who was producing gold. He didn't even have to touch nothing to get the gold. He had to go. So King Midas wanted to walk around and touch everything to be gold. And he was actually the richest man in the land, you know what I'm saying? Because he was turning everything into gold. But it actually ended up being his downfall, because he could not eat anything and he could never share love with no one. You know what I'm saying? He turned everything into gold. They said, your powers work. Just imagine you getting some powers and he like, you want to turn everything to gold, huh? All right. Bow, you good. Everything in the gold. Everything to go. You walk out, you touching everything. You lit. You like, yeah, I got my gold. And then you realize you can't even do nothing with that. That's how this nigga was. But they try to whitewash him and make it seem like, you know what I'm saying, it's impossible to have all this gold when it was a rich black man. The richest black man in history producing gold out here. What are y'all talking about? We need to learn more about the black kings, you know what I'm saying? Because Islam, you know what I'm saying, is going to be one of the most untouched, religions out there. You know, everybody is talking about, God and everything like that. The Quran, they don't rewrite that. The Christianity, the Bible was rewritten a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? The Old Testament still say the same, but you know what I'm saying? We got to unlearn and relearn, awake and unwake. You feel me? So we're going to get into inventors in the 20th and the 21st century. Number one, I have my guy, my boy, my uncle, my grandpa. He my uncle and my grandpa. William Henry Barnes. William Henry Barnes was born on 1887. He passed on in 1945. He was an ear and nose and throat doctor at the Frederick Douglass Hospital in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He invented a medical instrument that allowed doctors to reach the pituitary gland more easily. Now, for those of you who are trying to understand what is pituitary, I'm going to spell it because I have an accent and I may possibly be pronouncing it a little country. You know what I'm saying? So pituitary is spelled Pituitary. And the pituitary gland is a small gland. It's bean shaped. It's situated in the base of your brain, like right here. For my people that are on audio world, I'm turning my head and I'm placing my hand to the back of my ear. So if you do that, that is where your pituitary gland will be. Now, your pituitary gland is somewhat behind your nose and between your ears. You feel me? So despite its small size, the gland influences nearly every part of your body. The hormones it produces help regulate important functions such as growth, blood pressure, and reproduction. So the pituitary gland seems to be the main part of the brain function. You know what I'm saying? So what my man William Bury did was he invented a medical instrument that allowed doctors to reach the pituitary gland more easily. Found on the underside of the brain, the pea-sized pituitary gland secretes hormones directly into the blood. He called this invention the hyphoscope. Dr. Barnes perfected a way to remove a patient's tonsil in just 10 minutes with no bleeding as well. So he invented the hyphoscope, and as well as he can invented a way to perfect removing tonsils without any bleeding. So if any of you guys have ever had your tonsils removed, you know that you can understand that is a painful procedure. But if you suffer with no bleeding, that's because of my man William Bury. So we want to shout out to my guy right there. He's awesome. Another black man doing black things out here in the world. We got number 2, Leonidas Bury. Leonidas Bury is also a doctor. He invented the Eaterberry biopsy gastroscope in 1955. His invention made it easier for doctors to collect tissue from the inside of the stomach without surgery. And 5 years after inventing the gastroscope, Dr. Bury studied the stomachs of alcoholics. I'm about to mind blow you, man. This is some mind blowing. I did not know this. This right here, what I'm about to read, is mind blowing because we are amazing. Like my black men and women, like God put the power in us. You hear me? Amen and amen. So Dr. Bury studied the stomachs of alcoholics. He discovered that it was the liver and not the stomach that became diseased because of too much alcohol. This changed the diagnosis and treatment of alcoholism forever. So mind you, these white doctors were diagnosing people because, you know, God didn't give them the gift. They was out here diagnosing people the wrong way, telling them it's the stomach. Here come black man. No. That's not it. The stomach. That's not it. I invented the gastroscopy, and I realized that through my movements and my tools that it's actually the liver. He changed the game. And now we can get people can get properly treated when they have liver disease from drinking too much alcohol. I encourage those who are battling addiction to seek outside help because you can't do it yourself. You can't fight addiction yourself. It's hard. You know what I'm saying? So number 3, Dr. Shirley Jackson. Dr. Shirley Jackson is an American physicist who received her PhD from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in 1973. She was the first African American woman to earn her doctorate in nuclear physics at MIT. Now, for any of you guys who are, you know, older, maybe in the 30s on down, or maybe 25 on down, you know what I'm saying? You know, if you are a mathematician or if you are good in math or if you are just like been doing educational things, you know that MIT is a very hard school to get into. And when you in physics, listen, back in the 1970s, nigga, come on, man. She's the GOAT. So she got her doctorate. She would be the first African American woman to earn her doctorate in nuclear physics at MIT. So she was a genius. Like nuclear physics, like whoa, that's like Shorty was like she was the GOAT. In addition to her lengthy list of academic achievements, she also had an impressive number of inventions under her belt. Her experiments with theoretical physics paved the way for numerous developments in the telecommunication space, including touch-tone phone. Remember, I talked to y'all about that in the beginning. It includes the portable fax, the caller ID. The caller ID and the call waiting. And let me tell you something else, because Verizon is using her stuff right now, the fiber optic cable. Come on. If you in sales, I did all type of sales. Like, and I'm in my mid-30s. I've had all type of jobs and all type of sales jobs. And when I used to do push sales for, you know what I'm saying, Comcast and that used to be our and Verizon, that used to be our thing. You know what I'm saying? We telling them about the fiber optic cables because number one, it prevents less digging in your yard if you're trying to get like big dishes and stuff like that, and it definitely gives you very good clarity, you know what I'm saying? So they've perfected that as the years went on, but it's because of her, nuclear physicist from MIT, who created these things that we need. She created call waiting. Come on, what black woman don't want call waiting? Just in case, you know, somebody on the line, boop, hit them, I call them back. You know what I'm saying? It's because of her. You able to screen them phone calls because of Dr. Shirley Jackson. Y'all need to be saluting her and talking about her a lot more in these schools. I say take your kids out of school, homeschool. The schools is trash. They're not teaching our kids nothing. I just seen something on the internet where in Texas that they have the teachers can't even talk about systematic racism, and if they get caught talking about it, they will want their school won't get funded. Like what type of KKK America is this? This is bullshit, man. This is why we gotta teach our own kids. This is why we shouldn't have been pressed to desegregate. You know what I'm saying? Because the type of this bullshit, you know what I'm saying? We have to just create our own shit, create our own world. Because if we think the government gonna rewrite the Constitution when the 13th Amendment still see us as fucking slaves, you're tripping. They're not rewriting shit. You know what I'm saying? So either we gonna do as the Romans do, or we gonna join forces as black and brown people and as minorities. You know what I'm saying? And really come together, like for real. Because the white man is devilish, man. Not all of y'all. I ain't gonna say that. Not all of y'all, because not all of us are on the ups with how we living. But let me tell you, y'all destroyed a lot of things for the black man and the brown man. You know what I'm saying? Made it a lot hard for us to, you know, get back. Y'all put some, y'all put a doing on it. Like y'all put some shit in our genome now. Like it's crazy that can happen too when you for real. Shit, our genome, like we got to unlearn that shit. And in order for us to get this crap out of our genome and out of our genetics, we got to start loving each other and showing empathy and owning our minds, not only land and future. Okay, let me get back because I get digressing and going on a tangent. I get triggered real quick. Okay, and I don't want my followers thinking I'm a racist. Well, black people can't even be racist. Black people can't be racist. I can tell you that right now because we don't control the land. We ain't the people making the laws, but we can be prejudiced. But I may be possibly prejudiced. Are you
fucking kidding me?
It's a possibility, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm black, and y'all stole and vultured, and I have to do this in order to get my people back on the right track and to let them know that we not savages. We not just athletes or rappers and shit. I got to talk to y'all like this, and this is how it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying? For the rest of y'all natural born lives, because we claiming our motherfucking time, and we ain't holding our tongues for y'all. Fuck y'all. If you want to fuck us, fuck y'all. Okay. All right, let me get back on you. I'm sorry to my older listeners too that's out there listening and maybe hearing me cuss a little bit. I'm sorry, but y'all understand. Y'all grew up in the 60s, 50s, 40s, 70s, you know what I'm saying, when all that nonsense was popping off. I wish y'all had a position like me so y'all could, you know, tell them something too. But I'm going to do it for us. That's why I'm here. That's why Treetop Radio, that is on Townhouse Media platform, is here to do the no sugar coat in the feel me. Shout out to my boy Dice. You know what I mean? Okay, but back to my inventors. Let me get back to the program. Okay, so we got number 4 on the list of inventors of the and contributors on the 20th and 21st century. We have Bessie Blount Griffin. She was born in 1914. She was a physical therapist who worked with the veterans coming back from World War II. Many other soldiers and the veterans at the hospital in Chicago, where she worked with amputees, of course, coming from a war. A lot of them lost their legs and use of their limbs. So what Bessie Griffin did was she invented what we call is a portable receptacle support. Now, what that is for now what that is used for is a device that consisted of a tube attached to like a bowl, and it was connected to a brace, right? So the bowl to the brace, and the brace was attached to the patient's neck. So you got your brace and that go up to your neck. Then they got the little tube that goes into the bowl. You know what I'm saying? And it allowed the wearer to eat an entire meal without assistance. That allowed amputees to have more freedom and independence. And of course, as years and decades go on, they've perfected helping our amputees and our veterans. I want to shout out to the veterans out there that have served in all our wars, man, who are currently serving right now, man. I wish you guys was home so y'all can be with y'all families, but y'all out saving us from, what they tell us y'all save us from. Because I don't know. They didn't tell us a lot of stuff. So I salute y'all. Y'all go with it. Aliens exist, man. Did y'all hear Obama? Obama just admitted to aliens existing. And I seen that this Mexican military spotted some UFOs. So they've been telling us aliens don't exist. I've been telling people I'm an alien. So obviously they do exist. And I'm really an alien. So E.T. Woo, that was funny. Okay, number 5. We have Otis Boykin. Now, Otis Boykin was born. I had to say his name like that because, again, I'm from Capitol Heights, and I guess I have like a little draw or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So, or a little accent or what you call. So, and that's just how my accent allows me to pronounce his name. So I have to say it like that. So forgive me out there in Streamland and YouTube if y'all laughing hysterically about me pronouncing my man name. But he's an inventor. So Otis Boykin was born in 1920. He passed on in 1982. He had an incredibly diverse career. My man Boykin was like that. He invented a machine used to control the heart pacemakers. He also invented parts for guided missiles and computers, and also electronic air filter. I mean, God damn. And also, this is a kicker right here because I was like, damn, he invented that? That makes so much sense. So he also invented a cash register that thieves couldn't break into. Come on, he trying to save the people money. He trying to, if criminals out there. I don't know what type of criminals they was. They was out there trying to steal registers. So that's always been a thing, you thieves. And Boykin also worked in Chicago, Illinois, and Paris, France. So he was a travel black man, and he also did a lot, invented some things that were very beneficial to pacemaker. Grandma might got a pacemaker in her heart, and that was due to the machine that he made to control that joint, make sure it's going right. Now they got they don't got really the pacemaker, but they got like some robotic heart type stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because technology is growing, but it started with my man Otis. Anybody with the name Otis, they doing something big. They either a reverend, an inventor, or old football player from back in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? They used to crack niggas. They called me Otis Boykin, linebacker. Show his clip. He glassing the nigga from the side. Okay, number 6, George Carruthers. So George Carruthers was born in 1939. He invented the far ultraviolet camera spectrograph. This the kicker right here. We is so great. Black men, I love y'all. Y'all powerful out here, man. Y'all listen, just listen, tune in, listen to me. This what y'all doing out here. He invented a far ultraviolet camera spectrograph in 1969. It was plated in gold. Shout out to my man Mansa Musa. Man. It was plated in gold and carried aboard the Apollo 16 mission, man. So a black man invented a camera because ultraviolet light, for those of you who didn't pay attention in science class, ultraviolet light can't be seen by the naked eye. Okay, it has to be, it's a real unique type of camera that can take it like pictures like way far, you know what I'm saying? So not only did a black man invent a camera so you can go into space to take pictures of the earth, Black women sent they motherfucking ass up there. Come on, shout out to Hidden Figures. You know what I'm saying? All the black women that use their mathematics. You know what I'm saying? Taraji P. Henson played a role in that joint. To all they, I think, as a matter of fact, I think Dr. Shirley Jackson was in Hidden Figures. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to it. Took the black man to take the picture and the black women to send them up so they could take the picture. You know what I'm saying? So we out here doing big and powerful things. So it was carried aboard the Apollo 16 mission, right? Where it was placed on the moon's surface. The camera used ultraviolet lights, is like invisible to the naked eye, to capture high quality images of the Earth. So when you go on Google and you type in Earth, and you can see that joint, that's due to my man George Carruthers. So y'all didn't know that. Now you know. The more you know. That's why I named it The More You Know. Now I don't spell more M-O-R-E. I spell more M-O-O-R, because those are the first. We are the first people here on the earth, on this land. More people, more indigenous people. They tricked us out of our own land. As it gets deeper and I'll go. That'll be a whole nother podcast, because I'm gonna get triggered now. I got to stay on track. So Carruthers' invention helped scientists see how air pollution forms. California has the top ranking air pollution for your cars and for, you know, being green. You know what I'm saying? When people in California set the green standard, that kind of trickles down all across the United States. So he's a part of why they doing that. You know what I'm saying? So they help the scientists see how air pollution forms. This allowed them to develop new ways to control air pollution. The camera also found hydrogen in deep space, which led to new ideas about the birth of stars in the universe. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with hydrogen, right? So it's estimated that scientists estimate that hydrogen makes up over 90% of all atoms in the universe. Excuse me. It is the only element that can exist without neutrons. And what did they say he did? The camera also found hydrogen in deep space, which led to new ideas about the birth of stars in the universe. Its only element, hydrogen, it's the only element that can exist without neutrons. Hydrogen becomes a liquid at very low temperature and high pressure, and around 10% of the mass of the human body is actually hydrogen. So I just want y'all to know that we like that. He's probably the reason why the Big Bang Theory happened, because of his cameras. You feel me? We out here tripping like big shoes. We need to wake, unlearn, and relearn. White people got us mesmerized and oppressed, and having us to think that this country is not racist. When every time I look on Instagram, it's another black man getting killed by the police. But this country, Kamala Harris, isn't racist, right? Okay. We're going to sit back and see. Now, for number 7, we're going to get into the contributors. Now, and I want to shout out to all my Afro Latinas, my islanders out there in the world. Y'all too, my Africans as well. Y'all too are part of us. We are one. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to We Are One out here in the DMV area. That's an awesome local Black-owned brand. You know what I'm saying? We Are One. It makes so much sense because we are one. So I also included some contributors to the Afro-Latina Dad culture and community. So number 7 on my list of inventors and contributors of the 21st century is my girl Miriam Munez Romans. Her influence was very expansive, but perhaps nothing is as strongly felt as her book, The Afro-Latina Reader. So for those of you who are not familiar, it's a reader on history and the culture in the United States of Afro-Latinas. Munez leads the Afro-Latina Forum, which is dedicated to raising the awareness of Afro-Latinos in the U.S. She has used her own experiences as a Black Puerto Rican. You hear me? A Black Puerto Rican. As she used her experiences as a Black Puerto Rican to educate the world on Afro-Latina Dad and to bridge the gap between the presence of African Americans and Latinos in the U.S. I'm going to say it again. She helped create a bridge between African Americans and Afro Latinos in the US. She created spaces and outlets for Black Latinos that previously didn't exist and addressed issues that often go ignored, like some things that I did not know because I was ignorant. And it's okay. Sometimes we are ignorant because when I went to Puerto Rico, I seen people that looked like me, bruh, and they didn't speak a lick of English. You know what I'm saying? I was like flabbergasted, but that's because we're not taught these things. We taught to separate. They got a caste system here in the United States. You know what I'm saying? They put people, you light skin, you over here. If you black, you a slave, you slave descendant, you over here. If you island descendant and you African, you over here. You know what I'm saying? They separate us like that, so we don't know that we all the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So she, along with her co-editor Juan Flores, shout out to him, Roman conducted informative workshops with middle school students and discovered that many had a hard time understanding Afro-Latinidad. So without Miss Miriam Muniz Roman putting her foot forward and trying to bridge the gap that is between blacks in America and blacks in other countries and on islands and stuff like that, she had to be that bridge. So I want to salute her. Now, on the second contributor that we have to the Afro-Latina community is my guy Perry Thomas. He is known for a memoir he wrote called Down These Mean Streets. It was a noteworthy work put on Afro-Latinidad in the United States in discussing the racism and identity issues and poverty he experienced during his lifetime growing up in Spanish Harlem. And then Spanish Harlem. I don't know why that song just came. Shout out to Carlos Santana. Stop the looting, stop the looting. Din casa on the corner. Se mira Maria on the corner. They're thinking of ways to make it better. I bet you he had that song probably playing in the background when he was, doing his thing. So in Spanish Harlem in New York City, the Cuban Puerto Rico poet created a piece of literature that shone a light on history a light on his own community. So shout out to my man Perry Thomas. Number 9, another Afro-Latina contributor to our culture. His name is Jose Celso Barboza. He was a physician, he was a sociologist, and he was also a politician. And he was one of the first Puerto Ricans and persons of African descent to receive a medical degree in the U.S. But also he made history in plenty other ways, right? My boy served as an executive cabinet member under Puerto Rican Governor Charles H. Allen, and he joined the first Puerto Rican Senate. Barboza, who advocated for statehood, also established El Tiempo, the island's first bilingual newspaper. So it had English and Spanish in there. So shout out to my guy Jose Barboza. Number 10 on our list, we have Gwen Ifill. So Gwen Ifill was a news anchor, was a new news anchor on late television. Her father was of Panamanian descent and Barbadian descent. Shout out to my Panamanians and my Barbadians out there. She left a mark on the American media, right? As she was one of the first Black women to host a nationwide televised public affairs program in the United States. She also paved the way for other journalists of color. Ifill worked for the Washington Post, the New York Times, NBC. She also worked for PBS, and she became the first Black woman to moderate a presidential debate. Now, after her death in 2016, PBS published a piece titled Dear Gwen. Now, Dear Gwen were letters that female journalists wrote, and female journalists of color wrote to her about how they were inspired to pursue journalism because of her, which show how deep her legacy is, because that's powerful when your company that you're working for, your job that you're working for, give an opportunity for people to tell you how much you meant to them, not only the company but to the world, right? So for Gwen, campaigning for diversity in journalism was necessary. Gwen said, and I'm going to quote this: diversity is essential to the success of the news industry, and journalists must include diverse voices in their coverage in order to reach a broader audience. We have stories to tell, but many in our audience have stopped listening because they can tell that that we're not talking about them. Unquote, Eiffel said. In fall 2018, Simmons College is set to rename its new media arts program after the journalists calling it the Gwen Eiffel College of Media Arts and Humanities. So shout out to them. Now, number 11, we have another Afro-Latina contributor to our culture. His name is, and she is from Santurce, San Juan. Her name is Sylvia Del Villar. She is no stranger to the performing arts community. The actress, dancer, and activist faced discrimination as she pursued her studies at Fisk University in Tennessee, but it's when she moved to New York City where DeVille Villar began to take an interest in her roots, joining a ballet group called the African House. She also went on to establish Afro Burica El Coqui Theater, which the Pan American Association of the New World Festival named as the most important authority of Black Puerto Rican culture. Come on with it. Number 12, we have Felipe Luciano. Now, Felipe Luciano is also an Afro-Latina contributor to the culture. He is the founder of the Young Lords out there in New York. Shout out to the Young Lords. I know they branch is still active too. Shout out to the Young Lords. So he was the founder of the Young Lords New York branch, a Puerto Rican activist group started in Chicago and New York City with the same missions as the Revolutionary Black Panther Party. You feel me? The Young Lords was indisputably the main catalyst for the second generation's baptism into radical politics. Luciano focused on liberation of oppressed communities. So we all out here fighting for the same thing, fighting for the same cause. You know what I'm saying? We just from different places. You know what I'm saying? Now, Luciano grew up in an underprivileged area to a single mother. And even though he went struggling and, you know, he lived in an impoverished area, he was determined to go to college and get an education. So he got involved in how the Young Lords came about was he got involved in student activism on campus, which led to the creations of the Young Lords and to him joining the original Last Poets. A coalition of African American and Afro Puerto Rican poets. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the original Last Poets, I'm not even gonna give it away, but I'm gonna tell you, go type in YouTube original Last Poets. They are some brothers with a mean direction. They trying to elevate us. They've been trying to elevate us for a while, you know what I'm saying? And the things that they are talking about are still relevant right now, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to inform us and elevate us, and for him to join that tells me that he's a strong, powerful Black Puerto Rican dude. So shout out to him. Number 13, we have Lonnie Johnson. Lonnie Johnson was born in 1945. He used to build robots and cook up batches of rocket fuel in his kitchen as a boy. Now let me pause that. Now, what cartoon that reminds you of, y'all? What cartoon that reminds you? I'm gonna read that little part again because they whitewash it, everything. They steal everything. They vulture every fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? So when I read this line again, I want y'all to think of the cartoon of the boy. Okay, I'm gonna say it, but just listen. Lonnie Johnson, born in 1945, used to build robots and cook up batches of rocket fuel in his kitchen when he was a boy. Don't that sound like Jimmy Neutron? I'm gonna keep going. As an adult, he worked on NASA's Mars Observer project on the Cassini-Huygens mission to Saturn. Dr. Johnson used his training in astrophysics to invent more down-to-earth tools and toys. He experimented with a heat pump that used water instead of freon, a toxic gas important to astrophysics. Dr. Johnson hooked up the invention to the bathroom sink and saw a powerful stream of water squirt across the room. Wait a minute.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Get out of here, thoughts. Get out of here. That's happened to me. Okay. And he was like, wow, there's a stream of water squirting across the room. Out of this pipeline that I've built, I think I'm gonna call this the Power Drencher. But later that name didn't work out, so they changed it to the Super Soaker. Come on. He invented the Super Soaker, bruh. Johnson holds approximately 80 patents, including rechargeable batteries, the dart gun, aka the Nerf gun. See how they whitewash and shit? The Nerf gun, a spacecraft. He also invented a spacecraft cooling system and a hair curler. Y'all probably thought a black woman invented the hair curler. Nope, it was a black man. My man is awesome. Number 14, we have Frederick McKinley Jones. Frederick McKinley Jones was granted his first patent in 1939. He invented a machine that gave out tickets and correct change. So when you go to the parking lot and you put your money in, and you trying to get correct change at not the parking lot, the laundromat, and you get your exact change, or you at the you going to the movie theaters and you put your, you know what I'm saying, they get back the right change, or you at the grocery store, that machine is because of him, Frederick McKinley Jones. And after fighting in World War I, he returned to Hallock, Minnesota to work as a mechanic in the town's movie projectionist. Movies were silent back then, but movies, when they started having sound, they would call them talkies. But they were replacing the old silent movies, right? So museums had to upgrade. They had to modify their sound system to become talkies. And a lot of these white movie theaters, they just didn't have the money because they were squandering it away and whatever. But guess what my man Jones did is he was able to make a sound synchronizing machine for less than $100 so that they can play talkies. Now this equipment required them to spend thousands of dollars if they didn't go with my man Jones. But Jones was like, "Don't worry, boss, I got you," and created a sound synchronizing machine so they can play the talkie movies. And he did it with less than $100. Come on. Jones is also most famous for inventing, get this, the refrigerated truck. It allowed frozen food to be shipped across the country without spoiling. So when you got these, you ordering food and you lose weight food and all this other stuff from online and stuff like that, and it's frozen, it has to be frozen. The reason why they can do that is because of my man, Frederick McKinley Jones. Y'all lunching out here. We gotta unlearn and relearn. These white people whitewashing everything. Jesus white, motherfucking Johnny Cash white. She was black. What? Why is she white in the movie? Number one, Wonder Woman white. She was black. Why is they whitewash everything? Why? The angels white. The Chariots white, like everything is white. That's why we so fucked up out here. That's why we got people like Candace Owens on TV talking nonsense. The bitch is oppressed and whitewashed. She like the book, The Bluest Eyes. If y'all ever read that book, it's about a young black girl wanting to be white and had blue eyes. That's Candace Owens, monkey looking ass. Stupid self. I'm sorry. She not no monkey. Let me take that back. That's the oppressed talk. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna throw that. I'm gonna kick that on out of here with her big head having ass. Fuck you talking about? Okay, next, number 15, Garrett Morgan. Guess who I got in the background, y'all? My Uncle Garrett. Look. Okay, I gotta turn this way. For those of you who cannot see me in audio world, I'm pointing to the background. I got my man, my cousin. You know what I'm saying? Big cousin, Big Garrett Morgan. You know what I'm saying? Gas mask plus traffic light equals this man. My boy. So Garrett Morgan invented the first hair straightening cream by accident in his workshop. So for all you ladies and fellas, you know what I'm saying, try to get that slick down, you know what I'm saying, try to do the Prince thing or you get the jerry curl, you can do that. The straightening cream was invented by a black man named Garrett Morgan. But he created two other ventures on purpose, the gas mask and the traffic signal. Excuse me. In 1912, Morgan was awarded patent number 1,113,675 for a breathing device, also known as the Morgan helmet. But you know, of course, they whitewashed it and caused it and instead changed it to the safety hood. Now, this safety hood allowed firemen and still allows firemen to safely fight fires without breathing in poisonous gas, because you know them toxins from that smoke can suffocate a person's lungs and you can die. So Morgan's gas mask was used in World War I and by fire departments in New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Now, after seeing a bad accident involving an automobile and a horse-drawn carriage. Now, come on now. What came first? The horse or the automobile? Because I know the horse was going slow. I mean, the horse and buggy couldn't have been going that fast. The person on the automobile had to see them, but they ain't had no traffic lights, right? So after seeing a bad accident involving an automobile and a horse-drawn carriage, Morgan came up with a traffic signal device. So we the reason why we gotta stop. He the reason we gotta stop, yield. You know what I'm saying? We got on the traffic test, when you take your driver test, you gotta know these things about the stop lights and stuff like that. Because of my man Garrett. Now without Garrett, we would be crashing. We would be crashing out here, man. And he invented some other things too. I'm gonna let y'all know some things. Y'all ain't probably know this. He invented the women's hat fastener, because back in the day, during his time, the ladies wore the bonnet hats. That's probably where they get bonnets from. Bonnet hats, bonnets. That's probably why we wear the bonnets without the. Damn, I'm awakening. Sorry, you guys. I'm awakening as I'm on my podcast. My pineal gland is awakening. Now, he also invented the women's hat fastener. So back in the day, they used to wear them bonnet hats, and they used to have a little pin to keep them from flying away. You know what I'm saying? And he also invented a round belt fastener. He invented a friction drive clutch. Now, for those of you who don't understand what a friction drive clutch, that's usually on mopeds or dirt bikes, like bikes. And and those are some of Morgan's inventions. Number 16, Edwin Roberts Russell. Edwin Roberts Russell worked on the Manhattan Project during World War II. Now this about to get deep, because the government be like doing some wild stuff when it comes to black people, especially back in the day when they ain't want the world to know that black people smart. You know what I'm saying? They ain't want to know that we out here geniuses and they stupid as fuck. It's 5,000 of them, and none of them can come up with a fucking solution. And 6 black people walk in. Answer. What is y'all talk about? Okay. Edwin Roberts Russell worked on the Manhattan Project during World War II. The Manhattan Project was a secret program to develop the atomic bomb. Russell holds 11 patents related to nuclear energy and its process. Several black scientists were able to play key roles in the development of 2 of the atomic bombs that we dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945. Not only were several black scientists key players in making an atomic bomb, but 6 of those 12 had to be put to the government had them sworn to secrecy so that no one could know that there was 6 black men working on that atomic bomb. You hear me? Okay. And that was in 1945. So that effectively ended the war. So because of us, the war ended. Because we made atomic bombs and could drop it on the enemy, we won the war. Y'all won the war because of us. A lot of wars. According to the Atomic Heritage Foundation, at least 12 black chemists and physicists participated in primary research at the metallurgical lab. A small fraction of more than 400 scientists, technicians, and laboratory staff members tasked with designing a method of plutonium production that could fuel a nuclear reaction. Now, let me tell you about that last part they had to put in there, the 400 fucking scientists. Those are the 400 white people sitting around twiddling their thumbs, not getting shit done and doing shit and it blowing up in their fucking face. Until the 12 black people came and had to shake it up and give them knowledge real quick. God. Okay, number 17. Because my time is coming low, you know what I'm saying? So I want to come. I got about 2 more. Got 2 more, so I'm wrapping it up. But we need to know this. Time should have no limit on knowledge, you know? Okay. So number 17, we have poet journalist Julia Constanza Burgos Garcia. She is hailed from Carolina, Puerto Rico. She is a contributor to the Puerto Rican culture. She is from Puerto Rico. She's been from Puerto Rico to New York to Cuba. Julia Burgos' influence is felt in many places. Her poetry addressed themes of feminism and social equality. Her dynamic poetry profoundly influenced many Afro-Caribbean writers who came after her. So she was a contributor in her own right. Number 18, we got one more to go. After this one, Moses Fleet Walker. Moses Fleetwood Fleet Walker was the first and last African American to play Major League Baseball. Let me repeat that because some of y'all didn't know this. Moses Fleetwood Fleet Walker was the first and last African American to play Major League Baseball until Jackie Robinson joined the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1947. He was also an inventor. Walker first patent was for the artillery shell in 1891. He registered 3 more patents in 1920 that would make it easier to load and change movie reels. So the reason why the movie reels get changed so easily is because of my man Fleetwood. Anybody named Fleetwood, you know he doing on something. He either scamming, he either jamming, or he inventing something. And my man was on the inventing tip. You know what I'm saying? So number 19 is my last inventor for the night. He is a Afro-Latina contributor. His name is Otto Schomburg. He was a historian who's raised a significant amount of awareness for the African diaspora and reportedly inspired by a teacher who said that African descendants had no history. I had a teacher like that. I'm a sidetrack for a minute. And my professor, Dr. DeForest, fuck you. I wrote a paper. He was a white man teaching a black African American class, first of all. And I wrote a paper called The African American Experience. He gave me an F and told me that black people don't have the exclusive rights to slavery. Y'all know I took that paper to the dean, and she ended up giving me a C, which I understood. But I didn't fail the class. But he gonna tell me that bullshit because he Irish. Irish was indentured slaves, but y'all they bought they slavery. We out here getting exiled and not exiled. We out here getting assassinated. Fuck he talking about, boy? It's historic slavery, bitch. Okay, so he was reportedly inspired by a teacher who said that African descendants had no history. He dedicated his life to showing how vital their contributions were. After moving to New York, he became an important figure in the Harlem Renaissance. He also joined the Revolutionary Committee of Puerto Rico and co-founded the Negro Society for Historical Research, which united African, Caribbean, and African American scholars. He later served as the president of the American Negro Academy, which focuses on Black history and literature. In 1925, Schomburg founded the Negro Literature History and Prints Division of the 135th Street Branch Library. It later became known as the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture, a leading cultural institution in the world devoted to the preservation of materials focused on African American, African diaspora, and African experiences. Recognized for its prominence in digital humanities, scholarly research, and vast collections spanning over 10 million items, man. 10 million items. The Schomburg Center won the national media for the museum and library service in 2015, man. That concludes my inventions, and the contributors to the Black and brown culture, man. We out here phenomenally, man. I think it's our time to unlearn and relearn. We have to rewrite our own. We have to write our own history. We can't depend on his story because it's his story for them, not us. It's to keep us oppressed. So if we keep learning history, we're going to be lost in the sauce. You know what I'm saying? So we have to unlearn and relearn. The revolution ain't going to be televised. You know what I'm saying? The revolution won't be televised. The revolution will not be televised. You hear me? We have to start owning our minds, owning our futures, owning the information that we intake. You know what I'm saying? It's very informative and it's very powerful that we seek the knowledge because it's out there, but we just have to go get it. You know what I'm saying? That's how they do. They hide the information from us. You know what I'm saying? So if we want change to happen, we gotta straighten up. Hey man, I'm your girl, Big Homie Smiles. Y'all can follow me on Instagram. We got my boy. We gonna plant that is NFG and what's his name? Rockstar Fendi, and we have HMT. Ben. Dang, I forgot that other boy name. Oh, let me look at my
HMT Monty Rockstar.
Oh yeah, HMT Monty. Yeah, HMT Monty. Shout out to my young Goonies, DC area man for sending me that crank, man. Y'all can follow me on Instagram. That's big_homie smiles with a Z, man. Y'all make sure y'all send me some love donations if y'all have any to money $ treetop. It's the money sign treetop radio 87. I also want to shout out to my inmates that's out there in these behind the walls, man. I got a couple clients that is working with me from behind the walls in prison. So you artists, that they are artists, and I will be showcasing them soon, and putting them out there. You know what I'm saying? We got some videos in the making. They're gonna be doing for me from behind the walls, and I'm gonna edit it and do my thing, and I'm gonna showcase them drinks to y'all, because incarcerated lives matter. And just because, if y'all listening out there, just because they have y'all bodies locked up, that don't mean y'all minds is locked up. You hear me? And I'm here for y'all. Y'all know I never go a show without telling my baby I love her. You know what I'm saying? She made me type this stuff up. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate her. She is awesome. You know what I'm saying? Free fucking Simba till he fucking free. You hear me? Moko, GOAT, youngest in charge. Hey Ben, give me your cash app and your Instagram and where you want them to show you some love at, bro.
Cash app is $ Ultimate Apparel, ALLTUHMENT Apparel.
Y'all heard my man. If y'all have any love donations y'all want to drop down in our cash apps, make sure you get us, don't shit us, man, because ain't no nation like a donation. You feel me? Hey, shout out to my new set, man. Shout out to Townhouse motherfucking Media. You know what I'm saying? My man been ready for giving me the opportunity to be out here glowing like this. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Love is Love. Long live Lundy, man. Long live Dino De Niro. Shout out to Capitol Heights, Big 41 Vibes, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, been ready. We out this bitch.
Hey, I'm trying to upshine, blasting in 3D. Hey, on this rip like we spinning this CD. Hey, we trying up on the score. I see my album, a chick on this door, and I'm fucking this bitch cause she really a hoe.
Free Simba. Baby, I love you. Yes, sir.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Damn, that was the end of the track. Damn.